I think the next sort of thing that I wanted to talk about or explore with you was this concept, or your mission, as you emailed it to me in, I think, 2018. Your mission was is to reduce shame in higher education. And I think that's where our sort of mutual projects align, even though I'm just a blog for scorned academics, and you're making academics not be scorned. So we're
not just, don't call it just.
Right, not just scorned. But I think that this idea of shame and gaslighting, like all of the emails that I still get from people going through similar crises, like the one I went through, which was, sort of like the hierarchy above you is closed rank and your career is over through no fault of your own, often because one person did not like you or wanted your work. And that's a narrative that comes up over and over. And the thing that I've been going through them, sort of thinking about what services I want to have post PhD be, and sort of I have big plans for a platform, like at least a Slack channel, so that it's not just people writing into me to share their stories. We're sort of exchanging communally and talking about these things, because I think perhaps in this way, my mission is the same as yours, to reduce shame in higher education, because everybody blames themselves, even though they explained to me exactly how none of it was their fault of their own. Often because they produced good work, their career was now over, paradoxically, much like mine. They all blame themselves. And I think I blamed myself for a very long time. And that it wasn't until I could overcome that self-blame that I could really take ownership over what I wanted my life to be, and what avenues I wanted to seek for it to be fulfilling. Yeah,
that's, the growing up part of, so a lot of us can see it intellectually, systems at play, that, oh, here's how the system is, or here's where we are in history. Here's how groups of people are going through things. But then on a developmental level, we still feel very individual, like, no, we're like maybe 5 years old still, or 10 years old, of still kind of processing the somatic piece of it that we haven't dealt with, that shame and the fear and the anger and all of that makes us feel very young. So we can know it up here, but until we integrate it, body keeps the score, kind of heal some of that, we're just going to be very young.
I love that idea of forever young. It's very Neil Young.
Well, we want to grow up.
So part of growing up, part of moving beyond that is realizing, I think for me at least, I realized that shame was something that I was holding on to because I wanted to have a sense of control over the situation. It felt very important, despite my negative outcomes, that I had caused it. And I think this like self-blaming and gaslighting culture, I think it's inherent to any high achiever culture, really, but it's especially toxic in academia because all these high achievers are graduating and not getting the jobs that they were trained to do. So there's a profound amount of resentment and disappointment, and all of those really just translate into shame. And I think one thing that I see a lot of people who write into me, and one thing that I talk about with them is like how to let go of that. And I've seen it really consume people, otherwise, who have such important contributions to make in the world. So your mission is really important, because I think even though we have no employment opportunities, I think the way in which academics are trained to think means that we're going to be the problem solvers. And I think that's what we're in need of.